I'm from fourth year from MSAJA. So in the last session we saw unit 1 and unit 2. From this session we will see the last 3 units, that is unit 3, 4 and 5. So I'll just share the screen now. If you guys want any doubt, just note it down and we can just discuss the doubts in the last 10 minutes of the session. So this will be like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock session. So we will be covering only the important topics. So because we having a little time, right? Just 2 hours, we have to finish 3 units. So we'll be covering only the important topics. So I'll just share the screen now. Yeah. So we will be seeing unit 3. In unit 3, we will be having early modernism in Europe and America and critique of ornamentation and round plan of Adolf Loss. And we will be seeing all these movements which they started, which is expressionism, futurism, constructivism, cubism, supermatism, and TG still and Art Deco. So we will see all these one by one. Yeah. So we will start with Adolf Loss and arguments on ornamentation. So Adolf Loss, he pursued architecture which is in 1870 to 1933. He has simple exteriors which was elegant and decorated interiors, and he also had these public spaces. He wanted public spaces outside and private spaces inside. So in this 1870 to 1933 Adolf Loss movement, they started these outdoor and indoor spaces like outdoor cafe and outdoor sit-out spaces and all. And he wanted the public spaces to be outside and the private spaces to be inside. And they also created a round plan, which is of plane of volumes and designing of continuous spaces and merging spaces. And he wanted to have straight lines. As you can see, he didn't use any curve lines or anything. He wanted a clear straight lines, clear planar walls and windows. He wanted something, I'll show you on the examples. So this is Goldsman and Salastash building, which is in Luas, in Luas. This is kind of mixed use building. Mixed use in the sense we will be having like commercial, industrial, and educational kind of thing. That is called a mixed use structure. And he in previous sessions, what we saw, we had a lot of like an decorative details or a lot of details on the facade. After Adolf Loss, and he neglected all the details which they were used in the facades, and he also wanted like a plain, simple, and elegant design. So after at the side of the elevation of the commercial zone at the base strength level, different levels of the space within. He also wanted something like a street view kind of a thing. And yeah, as you can see here, this is some of his residential plans. So he wanted a simple and plain facade, and he designed this building for Lily's terrain. And he gave a semicircular and metal sheath roof, which this building, which contains like a three structure. As you can see, this is the 3 stories. This is the ground floor, first floor, and second floor. And yeah, this is the round plan design of spaces, which is like a 3 story, I think so. Yeah, it's a 3 story structure. So sorry, this is a 4 story structure. In the rooftop, they're using the terrace thing. And round plan is a design of spaces, three-dimensional way of thinking about a building, which allows precisely 3 immense experience. Each space has different needs and different height requirement. We can bring the space to the minimum where there is no need for it in order to waste it where we want to. He designed this building according to which he wanted a space to have a double-story height in certain spaces, and he wanted a single story height in certain spaces. So he designed according to the need of the user, and he designed according to the spatial need and the user need of the user. Yeah. So as you can see, he used a strong contrast stage between the simple and the almost hermetic facade and the rich and complex interiors cladding in the marble for the public areas and wood for the private rooms. Since he used, as I said, he wanted the public and private space separately. He wanted marbles in the public areas and wood in the private rooms. Yeah. So we will go on with the Peter Behens. So Peter Behens was initially who followed Art Nouveau style, as we know, as we studied all the styles on the previous chapter. So in 1907, Beheris teamed with 10 other artists and designers and a group of 12 companies to create the Destinger Weckenbud, an organization that was deliberately designed to compete with the English arts and craft movement and to improve the status of German and design industry. As we saw in the earlier chapters, since a lot of movements came there, German and other countries were also wanted to know their work, and they also wanted to spread their work across the world. As we saw in the last class, they also had all these Paris expositions. We saw like 4 to 5 expositions, I think so. So they also wanted their own design philosophies to be followed by the other countries also. So they started designing with the 10 other artists and designers, and they created a new traditional architecture in their own thing. So this was the eighth turbine factory. As you can see, this is the turbine factory they have used. Since they does not entirely represent the traditional architecture, solid gable ends, corner walls recalling an abstract classical temple, industrial nature required a significant different approach in its both spatial and functional requirement. They didn't follow their actual traditional architecture. They wanted to have a simple and an elegant one, as I said before. They also used these. We saw these kind of openings in our temples, right? So they also want abstractly created all these things within the factory. So as I say, this is the exterior of the factory. This is the interior of the factory. They used like a triple story structure, I guess. So as in response, Peter Behens also wanted to create a building which, according to the Art Nouveau style, so they have used it, and also after the industrialization, they built this building. So after industrialization, this means we have glass and concrete and steel were famous on those days. They implemented all those materials in this building. So we will be seeing expressionism from now. So which is nothing but a use of distortion and exaggeration for emotional effect. Architects started exploring expressionism through the facades of the building, through how the building they wanted to look, and also this movement started from in the art section. Yeah, they started this in the first in the form of artists, and they wanted to develop into architecture and also into the buildings also. So as we know, this famous painting and yeah. So expressionist architecture describes the type of architecture which uses the form of the building as a means to evoke or express the inner sensitivities and feelings of the viewers or architect. As I told, they wanted to express their inner feelings throughout the buildings. So basically they wanted to fragmentation. They also fragmented the building and the communication of the violent or overstressed emotions. Yeah. So we will be seeing one example with each all these movement, like for for futurism one example, and for constructivism one example. There are a lot of examples they have given in the notes, but we will be seeing only one example throughout the session. So as I said, this is Einstein's Tower Observatory. We saw this building in the previous session also. We will see this in this building in detail now. So this building was mainly designed by Eric Mendelssohn for Einstein. So he wanted to something to have like an expression. He wanted the building to have some kind of emotion they wanted to give. So this building was also followed the Art Nouveau style, and they also implemented all the materials as we saw in the last class. They used this concrete as the outer structure, and they used steel columns in the inside. They used glass as the glass for the windows. So the style was characterized of early modernist adaptation of novel materials, formal innovation, unusual massing, natural biomorphic forms, and technical advancement. As for expressionism, they used distortion, exaggeration, primitivism, and fantasy, and throughout vivid, jarring, violent, or dynamic application. Yeah. So as the characteristic feature, we can say, yeah. Since the Eric Mendel, we will be solving each architect also. So for this building, we will see Eric Mendelssohn. He is a German or Jewish architect, and he also wanted to follow the principle of organic unity. And he also used the structural potential of steel and RCC. And as I told, he used steel and RCC in this structure since these materials were famous on those days. Yeah, we will be seeing about the Einstein Tower now. So since it is an observatory, astrophysical observatory, since it is a design lab for Einstein, since they used organic forms also, they implemented organic forms, and also they wanted to give it like a lab, like what to say, like he wanted to express it into like in like Einstein's point of view. So he also used organic and self-contained in form of the tower, observatory and factory for optical instruments, conceived in concrete but built with brick and covered with stucco, explanation devoid of applied ornament and form of space, dynamic quality, structure design depicts an image of ungainly spaceship. He wanted to give it like a spaceship point of view, so he designed according to how Einstein wanted to give the his own thoughts to the building. Yeah. So for expressionism, we will see Einstein and Eric Mendelssohn. So for this can be asked in any 1 mark or 2 mark. So just note down all the main points. Yeah, I made a PPT out of this. Yeah, like expressionism, futurism. I gave two examples for the building. So once we finish the session, I will share all these details in the group. I'll just talk to the admin and let you know how we are going to share all these notes. Yeah. So this is also another example, glass pavilion, Wackenberg exhibition. You can just read all these. Just read any one example, or you can just read all these if you want. Yeah. Then for futurism, yeah. Since futurism is an artistic movement which was started in Italy, since it is an Italy and Russian movement. They also wanted to make these buildings, since futurism buildings were technically designed, but still they not constructed with more not a much building they were constructed. They just constructed within a short form of building. As you can see, this is a glass pavilion which is in sorry. Since I said they didn't build most of the buildings, they designed and planned according to the how they think of the ideas. So yeah, these designs were more futuristic than what they have. What they have technologies on that period. These buildings were more than of that, so they didn't able to construct those things. Yeah. So basically, they were striking shapes and dynamic lines and strong contracts and use of advanced material, as I said. They also wanted a monolithic skyscraper building with terraces. Since terraces were became famous on these period, like in 1909 to 1914. Yeah, we will just see any one example with these things. Yeah, this is Antonio Santelle. His designs were feature bold grouping and large scale disposition of planes. As I said, this one thing is considered as a plane. So he exploited all these planes into a futuristic design. So this is a concept of new city, which is highly industrialized and mechanized of city of future, linked to domestic and industrial habitants. With the power station at the center, the new cathedral, no decorative elements, elevators replaced with stairwells, emphasis was given to vertical lines and other dynamic expressions. Since elevators, staircases, and all these decorative elements were neglected, and the elevators replaced with staircases, all these lifts and all came in those periods right now. Yeah. These are the conceptual sketches of the building. Since it was not constructed, they used all those conceptual sketches here. Yeah. So we will be seeing constructivism, which is in 1920, which is popular in Soviet Union, non-representation totally in abstract construction, more important to architecture than art and sculpture. Since we saw a lot of the buildings in previous movements, they were all combined of the art and sculptures. As we saw some ornamentation details on the facade, and some details on the column, which is of Doric order and Ionic order. They also just because they combined all these ideas with the previous movement since the Gothic, and also they wanted to combine the present moment and the past moment. So in constructivism, they neglected all those what to say, they neglected all those art and sculpture and all those form of technical details. They wanted to look at more like a modern structure. So the space organized by means of an open structure, then enclosed volume, steel frames to support the plate glass. Since steel, they started to exploring and experimenting steel in case of all these futuristic buildings. And they also wanted buildings with balconies and sun decks. Exteriors are also, almost painted white. Yeah, as we say, as we know, as I told, these all the in this building you can see no ornamentation detail were made. All these facades are kept plain. Yeah, since residences are also made all these kind of windows and that thing. Yeah. So for cubism, they wanted to explore with the shape of cube. So they started this movement in cubism. They started the cubism movement, which was of geometrical shapes and forms. Cubist artists painted abstract objects as dissected geometrical shapes. Often buildings based on cubist principle are designed as geometrical interblocking shapes or quite simply as a single geometrical shape. Since this building contains a single cube, further on, they started developing this single cube into abstract model or stacking each other or interlocking each other. That's how cubism movement started. So the buildings have sharp and clean lines, ensuring that the building is viewed in perspective with ease. Simple, uncomplicated exterior design, modernist and modern material. They wanted to imply simple, elegant features in the building, and they also wanted straight lines. These are called straight lines, and these are called horizontal lines. And they also wanted to look into a perspective thing. If you can see here, all the lines emerge into one single line, as we say, as we all know, vanishing point. Yeah. So in cubism, they wanted to allow a maximum light into the building, and also they wanted to design in an open space at exterior, and the color scheme was also followed. Sharps of windows and doors in the harmony with the shape of the building. As I said, they wanted to interlock the cubes. They wanted to take away exterior cube. So as in this building, see since this is one cube, in this cube they have what to say, they have projected all these another cubes into a single form, and they used in choice of colors wanted sorry, they wanted to use these colors to emphasize the cubes that they have projected. So emphasis of colors and cubist was formed in the cubistic movement. So shape of the windows and doors in harmony with the shape of the building. Yeah, windows and doors were also one of the part of the shape of the building. Yeah. Supermatism. Supermatism, the invention of Russian artist Kazimir Malrich. Since I think this can be asked in the 1 mark. Since because when we had exam, we will be having any 2 questions from this unit. Since it's any one of the supermatism or anything on the other movements. So I think they will be asking with these with supermatism any example. So I have written all this. So which year it was started, that is 1910 cubism, 1909 to 1914 futurism. So just note down all these things and it will be really helpful. Yeah. So supermatism is nothing but a spatial method and the easel method, which is a space and canvas. So the problem of form has played and still plays an immense part in the supermatism art. Without it, it is impossible to relieve of the elements of the perception, color, dynamic, static, mechanical, motive, etc. Since they wanted form as the main thing for the supermatism. So as we know, this is the Hyder Ali Center of Zaha Hadid. Why we are amazed with this building? Because of the form, because of the structure. So they wanted to explore all the forms of the building. So on that case, this one came with the form follows function. We all know that, right? So that was formed in this moment. So they also wanted to neglect all the bright colors. So they wanted her to have a static color. That thing, yeah, I will show you. Yeah, they also wanted to use a primary colors. Primary colors became one of the most important feature in this design in the supermatism. They also wanted to the building to be a bold, and also they wanted the building to explode into more of forms. Yeah, so that comprises the supermatism. So any, you can write any example with this thing, since I mentioned here this Hyder Ali Center. Yeah, then DJ still. DJ still. D. was found in 1917 with the artist Theo van Doessenberg, who was also a writer and also a critic. And with this, they can ask any what are the characteristics of D sigil, or what are the characteristics of cubism. Kind of questions can be asked. So we can see the characteristics now. That is reduction of elements to pure geometric forms and use of primary colors, use of straight lines, horizontal or vertical, and rectangular forms, neoplasticism, avoided symmetry, and attained the aesthetic balance by the use of opposition, advocated pure abstraction, and universally by reduction to the essentials of form and color. It simplified the construction of crossing joints mostly seen in carpentry. Yeah, as what they are saying is they used literally the primary colors in this building, and also they neglected the use of straight lines and the vertical and rectangular forms were more encouraged in this period. They neglected all the curves kind of thing. So as we said, they avoided symmetry. Basically, before the de-sigil movement, they wanted to the building to look like symmetry, as we said, the golden ratio. In the for example, the Pantheon, we all know, right? Since it followed the golden ratio, so they wanted symmetry buildings in those period. After the these movement came, they avoided building and they started experimenting the building according to the abstract forms of building came, asymmetrical building came, and kind of all these movements came. So as you can see the example here, they interlocked two cubes into a single cube, as they said. So this will be one cube and this will be one cube. So interlocking of spaces are also started in these movements. So yeah, as we can say, this is a typical example of these digital buildings. They avoided all these ornamentations. They used vertical lines and horizontal lines. They used elegant, not elegant, kind of subtle colors, and they used all those primary colors to the highlighted to highlight the top of the buildings. So this is a rivet score house, which is of a two-story house, and there is no static accumulation of rooms, and they use the central staircase in this. I can see the plan here, right? There is no plan. So they use the central staircase in this building. The living space is open and subdivided. Facades are colloidal of lines and planes with a lot of luminary elements. Use of primary colors of gray, white, and black and frames, as I told before. So yeah, as I said, they used all these primary colors to highlight that part of the building. Yeah. Now into modernism. As traditional building, it may be through the Gothic and also in the classical reach of architecture style. So modernism is one of the movement they wanted to start after the de-sigil. Before starting the Bauhaus movement, the before the Bauhaus movement, modernism played an important role, and I will show you the example. Yeah, since this is the structure of modernism, since they also wanted to explore the facade, and they also wanted to bring the natural sunlight into the building, so they used all those windows on the facade. So for, as we say nowadays, what we having in our college, all those glasses in the facade, they started this thing in the modernism period. So yeah, modernism, it's the purity of form which is in the geometric form. They also wanted to explore all the geometry. So we will see the example of this Bauhaus. Since Bauhaus it's a school which was founded by Weimar, Dessau, and this Bauhaus school existed in three places, in Weimar, Dessau, and Berlin. So basic ideology of this building was to unify art and craft and technology, functional and serve simple architecture style. Mass production was recognizable with individual artistic spirit, modern furniture design, pure functionalism. Yeah. So Bauhaus School, as I told, was started in three periods. This was in Weimar, which is in 1919 to 1925. This is Dessau in 1925 to 1932, which is in Berlin in 1932 to 1933. So Bauhaus style was carried forward as it takes about the minimalistic approach and pure geometry and function first and then form, which was the key concept of this late modern era as well. As we saw in the previous constructivism, they told form follows function, but in the Bauhaus style, they changed into first function and then the form. So that's how the Bauhaus style was started. So they wanted a minimalistic approach, and also they wanted it to do a pure geometrical form. Yeah, this is the Bauhaus school. Initially, it was destroyed during the World War period by the Nazis government. So since it does not exist in now still now, but it was a building which was amazed by a lot of architects, as we say. So this building was comprised of steel and concrete as a structural materials, and gas curtain wall was later adopted in internationalism. Three wings are arranged to asymmetrically to connect within the workshop and dormitories within the school. And functionalism was a main primary element, as I told. They also used all these primary colors in this building, as we say. Yeah, this is kind of the Bauhaus school interior. As I said, they wanted to explore with the form. Say they used all this cubism architecture kind of thing into this building. They not a single structure, but a structure which goes along the side. So in this moment, they started using all these columns as the supporting the base of the structure. Yeah, since these are the corridors and this is the staircase which goes to the upwards, and they also used all these windows which goes to the ceiling height, so that the staircase will also get a natural light while going through there. Yeah, Bauhaus school initially introduced a lot of furnitures. So these are some of the furnitures they designed, and these furniture were used worldwide exclusively on those periods. Yeah. International style evolved from the Bauhaus style. Yeah. As we discussed on the last class, international style was also a movement which was followed by on those period, was inspired from the Bauhaus style. So yeah, this is the international style, which is we will talk now. The Industrial Revolution in modern architecture started in the year 1920. After the Industrial Revolution in Europe, modern architecture originated in the United States and Europe and spread from there to the rest of the world. In 1940s, these styles had been consolidated and identified as the international style. So modern architecture, which was started in 1920, and after the Industrial Revolution in the Europe, the modern architecture originated in United States and Europe, and they both after the Industrial Revolution, they all combined all these things, and they started as an international style, which was in 1940. The modern movement was an attempt to create a non-historic architecture of the functionalism in which a new sense of space would be created with the help of modern materials. As I said, they used all those modern materials and also the past movements, and they combined all these things and created international style. Yeah. So international style was a major architecture styles of the 1920s and 1930s. This was before the World War. So if you want, you can refer all these books which in the international style architecture since 1922 by Henry Russell and Philip Johnson. Yeah. So we will be saying Philip Johnson and all following things. So for international style, they have true to materials. That is the exposition of materials, and also form follows function becomes one of the thing in that period. The expression of volume rather than mass. Since expressionism concentrated more on the mass, and international style concentrated more on the volume. So the volume in the sense of the spaces. Yeah, balance rather than preconceived symmetry. Since they wanted had to have a balanced kind of building than the symmetry type. Yeah, elements of the international style, which is characteristics. A style of architecture applied to residence and public building that is a minimalist in concept, is devoid of regional characteristics, tests functionalism, and rejects all the non-essential decorative elements. As I said, they neglected all the decorative elements, and they wanted to have a minimalistic approach. And also simplification of form, simple geometrical, often rectangular and cylindrical surfaces. This you know, right? This is a Villa Savoyen building which was constructed by Le Corbusier, and he also used those five his ideologies, ribbon windows, and floating columns. We will see on the next chapter. So, absence of ornamentation and decoration and open interior spaces and are commentary asymmetrical. Commercial buildings are not only symmetrical but appears as a series of repetitive elements. Doorways and windows remains conceptually plain, lacking of decorative detailing, focused on the transparency of the buildings. Yeah, these and all what we discussed earlier. Just give it through a read. Yeah, that will be more than enough, I guess. Yeah, this is Villa Savoyen. Just noted as an example. We will see this in detail on the next chapter. Yeah, we will be discussing Le Corbusier. So yeah, yeah. These are the some of the international style buildings. As we said, they had those cylindrical thing, and also they wanted the rectilinear surfaces. They also wanted to neglect all these what to say, all these details on the facade. This is somewhat the previous movement, and this is the international movement. You can see the difference right here. So CIAM, Congress and Declaration. So they uh, they need to identify the common directions and to make understanding for new approaches in architecture. Hence, in urban planning, led to the founding of CIAM. A group of architects formed a committee, as we said, as I said. So they wanted to have a new approach towards the architect, and also they wanted a new urban planning to the city. Since city planning was started in after the international style, yeah, CIAM is Congress and declaration thing, and it was topics they were discussing topics on all the CIAM meetings. They were kind of like five kind of meetings. So you can also note down all these topics and the year, since it can be on also asked in the 1 mark. So topics discussed in the first Congress, that is the last arrest documents Switzerland, which is modern technology, standardization, cost efficiency, urban planning, youth education, and architecture of the state. As I said, they wanted to start the urban planning, and also they wanted to buildings which were cost efficiency and also to have a modern technology. So topic discussed in the second Congress CIM, which is in 1929 at Frankfurt. Theme is the existence of minimum apartment, and also apartment kind of like high-rise buildings and mid-rise buildings were started in after the international style. So topic discussed is in third Congress, which is 1930 at Brussels, rational methods of development, and which is fourth Congress meeting, which is in 1933 at Athens, the functional city. They were concentrated more on the city planning rather than the other our individual houses or kind of thing. So this Congress identified the four primary functions of the city: residential, work, freeform, traffic. The city should be designed for maximum comfort and maximum time savings. Since a lot of architects started to build into city plannings, you will be seeing that in the next semester. So we will be seeing only a small part of the meetings in this, sorry, small part of the discussions in this semester. So which is like they wanted to have residential, industrial, and commercial buildings, and also a free form of circulations, and also a traffic free zone. Yeah, which is topics discussed in fifth Congress was dwelling and leisure. There are three stages of CIM, that is stage 1 in 1928 to 1933, stage 2 1933 to 1947, stage 3 1947 to 1956. Yeah. Athens scatter. Yeah, okay. We will be seeing an example for the international style, and then came the Art Deco. Art Deco is a reaction against the Bauhaus, which has less and less of ornamentation. Art Deco is a name for the connotations is against the thought of the form follows the function. They talk about the form and the aesthetic beauty of the form in architecture. Art Deco came in reaction to against the Bauhaus. Bauhaus had a concept of function for, follows the form, and also they concentrated more on the functional form and the architectural elements. So since this movement came against the Bauhaus, so they wanted to have a form and also an aesthetic beauty in form of the architecture. So they also wanted to aesthetic as an important role in the architecture. So they started this movement. So the term came from the International Exposition of Modern Industrial and the Decorative Arts of 1925 Paris. As we saw in the previous unit, in the first unit, I guess. So five expositions were start in the Paris. Since in 1925 25 of Paris, International Exposition of Modern Industrialization and Decorative Arts came. After this exposition, Art Deco was initially formed. So influenced by Art Nouveau movement, but the biomorphic and asymmetrical visual language of Art Nouveau was diluted and influenced by machine-made geometric patterns in the Art Deco. So we will be seeing only one example here. The Chisler building is designed by, yeah, there will be two buildings. We will be seeing the Empire State Building because these buildings we will be studying in the next semester also. So we will see this one. Empire State Building was one of the tallest building ornamentations like pinnacles and structures, and gradually tapering down the structure and on top of the metallic spire bottom, and is protruded and is pushed back. Seven groined vaults and seven concreted arches. Since Empire State Building became one of the tallest building in 1930, it was in New York, Manhattan, and ornamentations like pinnacles and sculptures. These are called pinnacles and sculptures. They also reduce the amount of detailing here. They also wanted to have something like aesthetic value and also a functional kind of thing. So they started using glass windows as in the facade. So yeah, these are the interiors thing. They also wanted to have an aesthetic look. So they had all those light and shadows thing kind of, yeah. Since Art Deco became one of the talkative movement in that period, so these are the examples of the Art Deco movement. And also in Art Deco movement, furniture also became one of the important part. As we say, these are some of the furnitures that they designed. Yeah, this is Buffett by Gaston Poussin. These are some of the sculptures which are famous in the Art Deco. Yeah. From this, we will be finishing Unit 3. In Unit 3, what we can expect for exams is from all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all these 6 movements, any one movement can be asked as a 2 mark, or any how are they formed, or what are the characteristics, which year, and who are the architects that can be asked, and on an example of the building that can be asked, and functionalism, Bauhaus, CIM, international style, same thing applies to both. So if we are finishing with unit 3, we are starting with unit 4. That is we will be seeing 6 architects, which is Gropius, Corbusier, Alvar Aalto, Wright, Mies van der Rohe, and Richard Neutra. Yeah, we will take a break after fourth unit. Then fifth unit, it is a big unit, so we will see after this unit. Yeah. So first we will see about Mies van der Rohe. Mies van der Rohe, he was born in Germany, which is in March 27, 1886. Since he worked under Bruno Paul as an Art Nouveau architect and also a furniture designer. Since these are all common names or common info about the architect, we will see more on the characteristics and the his almost on his style. Yeah. He created the less is more concept, and he wanted a steel and gas style, minimalistic design, open and flexible space, skyscrapers, exposed to steel structure that directly connected interior space into the landscape, minimal intersecting planes, rejecting the traditional system of enclosed off rooms and relying heavily on the glass to dissolve the boundaries between the building's interior and exterior, widespread use of glass and all these. Since less is more became another interesting concept in those periods, and they also wanted an open and flexible space, that is as we discussed in previous semester, an open plan. We'll be seeing all those things in this thing. So Barcelona Pavilion, yeah, Barcelona Pavilion is one of the international exposition which takes place in Barcelona. We saw this in the first unit. We will discuss this in the, detail in this further. So features which is flat roof supported by the columns and simple form and the spectacular use of extravagant materials such as marble, red oxy and tarventine. So which the same features of minimalism and spectacular can be applied to the prestigious furniture specifically designed for the building, among which the iconic Barcelona chairs. So this building was constructed in explored of the Barcelona pavilion, which is happened in 1927. So he wanted a concept like just like a free plan, that is there will be no partition or there will be no walls in the building. It's kind of an open plan. That is what we discussed earlier. And yeah, this is the main common entrance. As we can, this is the main common entrance of the building. There will be no there will be single sculpture and purpose designed furniture, the Barcelona chair. And yeah, yeah, this is the main approach. He wanted to have it like a loop kind of thing. So if a user enters here, the user goes from this side, this side, this side, and he basically goes on a loop inside the building. See, you can I can zoom it. Yeah. So if a person enters here, they can go this side, this side, this side. And simply, as you can see, these are the partition walls that he have provided. These are not partition walls, kind of just an enclosure kind of thing. Yeah, so he wanted to have it like a user approach thing. So yeah, he used a ramp to enter the building. That also became one of the talkative feature. Yeah, the red lines are the circulation, as you said. This is the outdoor entrance, sorry, outdoor exit, which goes to the exit from the building. Yeah, he also used kind of glasses, which is he also used skylight as in the roof. He used flat roof, as we said. He used the skylight in the building here, so that light comes and it touches here and it spreads out the whole building. We you study this in climatology, right? The same thing they have applied here. So these are the materials which he has used. Since this is the outer wall, he used a marble wall, and he also used a tarventine wall in the walls. And this is the water pool he gave inside, which also in response to climate, he also designed this one. So yeah, and since these are the glasses which he have provided in roof. Yeah. So basically, these are the main important things they have used in this building. So in case of plinth, he used the tarventine. In enclosures, other new shape enclosure also of tarventine. Floor slabs is also of a pavilion project out the overside the pool. Once again, connecting the inside and the outside, as I said, which connects the inside and the outside. So roof plates relatively small and are supported by chrome clad crucifixion of columns. Yeah, as I mentioned before, they used a primitive column here. So you can see here, these are the six columns, sorry, eight columns he has provided. So he provided on the center of the building. So he avoided all the columns on the outer structure. So outer structure supports on the outer wall. That is the marble wall and also the tarventine wall. Yeah. So we will move on to the next building, which is Eiffel Right. As you all know, Falling Waterhouse is one of the iconic buildings in those days. So we will see all his principles right now. So just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Yeah. So with the organic architecture, he used organic architecture as the ordering principles, which continue to represent themselves to building as a whole. Uh, he wanted the organic architecture refers not only to the building's relationship to the natural surroundings, but how the building design is carefully thought about it where a unified organism. So yeah, these are all his philosophies which were carried out throughout the year. So you can read all these things. We'll move on to the building now. Yeah. So Ethelred had many choices to locate the home on this large site, but choose the place close to the home that is directly over the waterfall and creek, creating a close yet noisy dialogue with rushing water and steep side. So he wanted to have the building into a natural surrounding, and also he wanted to connect with the nature and also to represent the natural elements into his building. Once he also used of cantilevers, which were became an outdoor connectivity throughout the building. So he used monolithic concrete slabs. He also inspired from Japanese architect into an exterior and interior spaces. And yeah, we will move on to the next one. So fireplace. Fireplace is the heart of the living room, which indicates a boundless found on the site upon which the house was built. Floor, the stone floors are waxed. Dry rocks are protruding from the stream. As I said, he used all those natural elements, and he also used the materials which were available within the site. So integration of spaces, a stairway leading directly down the stream below the connecting spaces, main door with the guests. Bedrooms are small, some with low ceiling to encourage people outward toward the open social areas, decks and outdoors. So he wanted to have a bedrooms like a small with a low ceilings, since he wanted the user to go into the outside deck area, which he has provided as a cantilever. We can see all these pictures, and you will have a clear picture. So windows and doors, the design incorporates broad expanses of doors and balconies which reach out to the surroundings, staircases leading down from the living room and steamed according to the, yeah. These are the cantilever, yeah, these are the cantilevers which I have mentioned, and yeah, you can see here, these are the cantilevers which I have mentioned. They're having also a plan right now. Yeah, I will show you. Okay, it's not zooming. So this is the master bedroom which he has, and this is the terrace one. And here is also a terrace. Here is also a terrace. He wanted to have an connectivity with the nature, so he gave all those open views from the master bedrooms, from the guest room, from the dressing room, whatever. So this is the main staircase. As I said, there also he also connected a bridge through here, which surrounded by all these natural elements. From the bridge we can also have a natural view. So this is the staircase which goes to the outdoor and sorry, to the upper floor, and this is the staircase which goes to the upper floor. Yeah. So these are the main elements of the building. So we will be seeing the Lee Corbusier next one. So Lee Corbusier is one of the architects which who born in 1887 in October 6. He has his buildings in throughout Europe, India, and America. Lee Corbusier is one of the architects who constructed our IIM, which is in Bangalore. He cooperated with B.V. Doshi, and we all be studying all these things in the next semester. So he also, I will explain his 5 points of architecture. This is one of the famous characteristics of this architect. You can be these things can be asked in as a 1 mark or 2 mark also. We had all these as a 5 mark, 60 mark question in our semester. So Piliotids, which is referred to as reinforced concrete stills, free facade, that is like no detailing, it's a plain facade, and is open floor plan. As we saw in Barcelona Pavilion, there will be no partition walls or columns in the building. So which is horizontal strip windows, that is ribbon windows, we'll be seeing that, and roof garden. Since the terrace were left open, he started using that space as a roof garden. Yeah. So, as a Villa Swain, this is one of his most talkative structure, which was constructed in 1929 and 1931. He lifted the bulk of structure off the ground, supporting it by the pillars, that is reinforced concrete slits. This is nothing but we had those in our parking, right? In apartments and all, we have those ground floor as parking. So that idea came from Lee Corbusier. He used all the stilts in the ground floor, so that is called as pilioids, and he has a free facade, meaning non-supporting walls that could be designed as an architect's wish. So as an open floor plan, meaning that the floor space was free to be configured into rooms without a concern for supporting walls. The second floor includes a long strip of ribbon windows. These are called as ribbon windows. Yeah. So since with surrounding by a courtyard, the fifth point was the roof garden to compensate the green area consumed by the building and replace it on the roof. Yeah. Since this is the roof garden which he initiated, and he gave a ramp-like structure which goes on to the ground floor to the upper floor. Yeah, as you can see, this is the ramp which I told you. This is the ramp which goes to the from ground floor to the upper floor. Yeah. So since this is the roof garden he initiated, you can see the ramp here and all these pilloids here. These are the ribbon windows which he provided. Yeah. Then we are moving on to the Walter Gropius. Walter Gropius is one of the main architect who designed Bauhaus School, and also he worked for Peter Behrens, who influenced by British arts and craft movement, and he was a German architect. Yeah, we studied about Bauhaus School in the previous classes. We will see about a little bit in this side. So very key features are very functionally articulated. The bold ribbons are wall of classes. Masterly combination of variety of rhymes of regularity to produce a composition at once rich in sense. And they're also in Bauhaus School there were four main characteristics that were true to the materials. They have exposed the staircase. They will be having a form follows function as a concept. Sorry, a function follows forms as a concept. And they also used all those all those materials which were came after industrialization. So all those things you can write in this thing. So Richard Neutra, so he is one of the pioneer architectures of international style. So he born and educated in Europe, and his Southern California firm invests many office building, churches, and cultural centers. So yeah, we will go on with his work. Yeah, his principles. Neutra's house were dramatic, flat surface, industrialized looking buildings placed into a carefully arranged landscape, constructed with a steel glass reinforced to concrete. They were typically finished in stucco. Stucco is one of the material. His domestic architecture was blend of art, landscape, and practical comfort. Yeah. Flat glass walls, ceilings, and deep overhangings, connections indoors and outdoors has become the trademark of Neutra's architecture. These are all common characteristics of Richard Neutra. You can just see the building and refer with all this, and this can be asked in 1 mark or 2 mark. Yeah. I will show you an example. Yeah. This is Kaufman Desert House. Kaufman House is one of the landmark house built for Edgar J. Kaufman on the edge of the desert town Palm Springs. The building is virtually a glorification of modernist international style with skeletal steel frames and an open plan. As I said, open plans were famous on those periods. So since open plan came within Le Corbusier and the Kaufman Desert House, and also open plan came with Mies van der what who is this sorry me it's a Barcelona pavilion thing. So just note down all these things and connect with each other. You can just have all the same thing within the same architect, so it is easy to understand and write. So besides, the building was designed to appear floating, thus the steel and glass are used throughout the house to keep it light and airy, while the thick slabs are float above. Yeah, you can see here all those thick slabs are floated above, and all those steels and glasses are used within the structure. Since masonry is known for high thermal mass, meaning it mediates the temperature by slowly absorbing heat during the day when it's hot outside and then releasing thermal energy at the night where it is cooler or outside. Yeah. You study this in climatology, I think, which is like with these on a Venturi effect and all those effects and another one I guess I just search and let you know, and another one which is some kind of effect I'm not recognizing, I mean I'm not registering right now. So this is kind of one which absorbs heat during the day and it releases heat during the night. So sorry, it absorbs cooler during the day, cools and it releases heat during the night, so it will be a good thermal energy at the building. So since we will be seeing all these in the next buildings also. Since desert experience high temperature fluctuations from daytime to nighttime, the stone walls work well to prevent the inside of the building of becoming too hot by slowing down the transfer of the heat energy. Since desert has a high temperature in the morning, it will be so hot, and in the night it will be so cold. So to prevent the transfer of heat, he decided to bring stone walls into the building and also to use all those masonry works and all those things to prevent the fluctuation of heat. Yeah. In addition to heat prevention, the masonry also act as a strong boundary against the wind, especially in desert when sand and dust, other forms of dry and loose debris often get. Yeah. Yeah, since in addition to the heat prevention, since it is a desert, there will be a huge amount of wind and all those things. So to reduce to the polluted things which comes into our structures, he also provided all the stone masonry walls into the outside of the building in accordance to with the wind direction and all. Yeah. So he also used cross ventilation in the building, which is like cross ventilation is only true effective when the outdoor air is cooler than the indoor air by at least 3 degrees Fahrenheit. What they are saying is cross ventilation takes place when the outdoor air is cooler than the indoor air by less than 3 degrees Celsius. These can be asked in 2 marks or 1 marks. These are the common basic things, not in accordance to the building. So yeah, you can just read out all these things since they are you can understand by reading it. So I'm just skipping all this. We will just move on with the architects, and I think this is the last one, Alvar Aalto. Yeah, Alvar Aalto. Alvar Aalto is one of the architects who pursued in 1898 to 1976. So Alvar Aalto also carried the form follows the function, and in the which is in the cusp of modernism. And Alvar Aalto's passion for painting led to the development of his unique architectural style. Alvar Aalto is one of the architects who is very well known for his paintings also. So Alvar Aalto also designed a lot of furniture, which is own kind of furnitures. So his philosophies on nature and organic materials, like unlike furniture in the same period, he this beauty of his work is hidden in the design approach of functionalism, but with a strong connection to the organic relationship between a man, nature, and the buildings. He is designed in very few scales, ranging from building town plants, furniture, glassware, jewelry, and other form of arts. Yeah. Since we are going to see only Pioneer Sanatorium, since it is a hospital which were built during the plague, which was affected on the it was a tuberculosis which was affected in 1929 in Finland. So he wanted to have an open air roof terrace, and he also wanted to have a balconies, which we have a theory that it's not a theory. We have a beliefs that sunlight can cure and heal ourselves. So he wanted to have a balconies within the patient's room. So he created an open balcony on side of the patient's room where they can have all the sunlight and cure themselves. So he also wanted to have a colors which can heal them. So colors are also having a quality of healing ourselves. So he also uh, implied all these things in this building. So Alto designed interiors and furnishing. As one of his most engineering creation is the chair designed for tuberculosis patients at Paimio. The Paimio Sanctorium chair is so beautifully designed that is part of the collection of the Museum Modern Artwork in New York. He also designed all the furnitures which he wanted to have to the tuberculosis patient, since it is a very untreatable disease. He on those days, it is in 1929. So he designed all the furnitures and all the all the furnitures and all the interiors in this building. So we will be seeing all those things features. Yeah, these are the balconies which I told you. They were used. These are the patient's room and these are the balconies, so they can use this balcony uh, while they are not sick, or while if they want to cure themselves. So using of RCC frame within infill being insulated brick cavity wall, which is then rendered and painted well. Sun trap balconies are cantilevered from tapering the RCC frame. These are cantilever balconies. So expose the lift shaft on the external wall, free form of cantilever canopy. Yeah. Orientation south of the balconies and the top rooftop sun deck was determined by the dedication on the supposed healing powers of the sun. As I said, the west, the doctors are north, the staff class. Since the south side has the most amount of sunlight where we are getting, so he designed balconies on the south side. On the West side we will be getting harsh light, on the south side on the north side we will be getting soft light. Since south side is one of the south side is one of the thing which we have morning 7 to 10 p.m. sun, I think. So that so he used all these balconies on that side. So as I said, yellow is the color which has a natural healing capacity. So while designing, we will also consider all the colors what we are giving. Since it is a hospital, it has to be has a healing thing within the structure. So we use yellows in the corridors, yellows in the furnitures, and also it had a lot of natural light due to double height windows, and the sun blinds outside prevented glare. So he also used all double height windows in all the staircase sites. So it will also have a natural lighting throughout the staircase. This is a very interesting building. If you read out throughout the building, you will really get inspired with a lot of ideas to your design. So since we had this building as a 16 mark in while we are writing an exam, we writing our exam. So read all those small points and all those see all those pictures. It will be really useful. Yeah. So as we see here, each patient has their own wall-mounted cupboard and basin. Since in hospitals there will be a single portion of a single portion of basin or washability for a group of 3 to 4 people. He neglected those ideas and he had his separate own wash basins for his own patients. And all, Alto also believed that bright colors made people feel better and be more active. So the lobby was treated with bright yellow walls. As I said, yellow has an healing capacity, healing thing. So he uses all those yellows. This is a reception unit, and this is a food court unit. And he also designed all those lamps and door handlings and door handles designed to prevent coat sleeves from being caught in them. Since doctors are using all those long coat sleeves in their hands, so sometimes it will be caught in the door handle. So he also prevented them in according to his own design. So he concentrated on all the small details in terms of an hostel, in terms of a doctor, in terms of a patient. Yeah. Since this is a really good building, you can note it down. Since now we are finishing with the fourth unit, we will move on to the fifth unit. Fifth unit, since it is a very vast unit, we will be seeing only those important things here. Since I'm not taking all the buildings within, for example, in Indo-Saracenic side, we'll be seeing one building. In colonial side, we will be seeing one building. So it's 4:05. We will start with 4:15. We'll take a break for 10 minutes. We will finish the chapter by 4:45. Then we'll have a session like last 15 minutes for any doubts or any clarifications. We will just move on to that. Yeah, we will take a break. We will come by 4:15. Is that okay, guys? You can text on the chat so that I know people are there. Yeah, where is this thing? Yeah, just text me on the chat so that I know. We will take a break. Yeah, yeah, okay, super. We'll take a break, guys. Yes, guys, we are back. Shall we start now? Yeah. Is everyone there? Thank you, Muthu. Is everyone there? We will start the session now. Just post a okay or yes, guys, so that I know all of you are there. Yeah. Is everyone okay with Tamil? I'm taking English so far. It's really boring. Yeah, okay, Niveda. I'll take on English. We will discuss after the class. We will talk about your Viva. We'll introduce yourselves. We'll just have a small chat session. Since only 15 of them are here, 16 of them are here, we can just unmute ourselves and talk. Just interact with each other, get to know each other. Okay, I think we can start the session now. Hope everyone is here. I can't see any chat in the chat box. So yeah, I will start the session now. People can join. We will have a conversation at the end of the session. So Unit 5 comprises of uh, colonial architecture and how colonial Indo-Saracenic neoclassicism, all these influenced India. So we are going to see all those things and the Art Deco movement in pre-independence and post-independence. So we will see all these things. Yeah, we will move on with Unit 5. Yes. So in Unit 5, which is it happens in 1860, which pre-integrated forces acting simultaneously on urban design and architecture in India. That is impact of industrial revolution, and that is impact of colonizing powers and reaction to it, and impact of internal tussle and political front over independent India. So, as we all know, we had independence in 1945. Before the independence, we had all the British rule in India, which also had some impacts on the architecture and also had some impact on the buildings. So we will see all these one by one, how people started coming into India and modified all our buildings, and we will see all this one by one. So, urban areas such as Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and New Delhi developed under the military and economic domain of British, also reflecting the political struggle for control of the nation. Since Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and New Delhi became the iconic cities which developed under military and economic domain of the British, since they became the most capital thing of our India. So the penetration of British ideas and impact created situations of confrontation between foreign and indigenous values, tradition, modernity. The context still remains. So the Europeans basically brought them with us, which is the concept of town planning and architecture, and which comprises of classical, Romanistic, Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles. Which is in 1857, colonial powers created cities, administrative posts, and building. So all these people, which is first came, which the Portuguese, that is in old Goa, Baroque churches, institutions, Catholic churches. Example, Nagapatnam, uh, Serampore, squares and canals, and all these. And then came the French influence, that is in Pondicherry, which is 1674. That is city town grid iron layout, parkings, public buildings, avenues, garden houses, and classic towns and suburban houses. Then we will see after the French, then came the British. So we will see all these one by one. So which is the architecture of Portuguese. So early settlements show Italian Renaissance influence, geometric symmetry, um, who is a Damon, Panjman, Margoa, Vasco da Gama, Diao. In 15th and 16th, religious, politics, architecture were intertwined. Franciscan order established based in India, churches and convents. In 15th and 16th century, architecture of Portuguese became influential on churches and also in convents. So, architecture of Imperial Portuguese present marks by its churches and cathedrals, which faithfully documented in the European post-Renaissance architecture through classicism and its Materialist and Baroque branches. There also still exist old mansion datingly mainly from the 18th century, as well as numerous regions of fortification defenses, but in main in Portuguese churches, monastic buildings take pride of the place. So basically, in Portuguese period, they started building all the fortification, which is for example, you all know that the China wall, right? That is a fortification. That is a defense structure. So kind of that thing came in our India in the Portuguese period. So the churches got influenced in Baroque style. We all studied in last semester, I think, Baroque and Rococo styles and all those Renaissance styles. So these and all came in India in the Portuguese period. So as an example, as the Church of Holy Spirits and Francis of Assisi, and this is the Cathedral of Saint Catherine, and these and all came in the French influence period. And next came the which is came the Portuguese and French influence period. Then after came the British influence. So they came into trade in four early settlements, that is Surat, Madras, Calcutta, and Bombay. Like now we have Delhi as our main capital, and our president has its main home in Delhi. So kind of on those days, they had four settlements, that is in Surat, that is in Madras, Calcutta, and Bombay. So these ports were the main centers of India. So trading ports within forts were Fort St. George near Santhom, Bombay Fort near Harbour, Fort William near Hooghly. Fort St. George near Santhom, that is in Chennai. Bombay Fort near Harbour, that is in Mumbai nowadays they calling, and Fort William near Hooghly, that is near in Calcutta, I guess. So just check it out. So cities grow adjacent to the forts during to the commercial success. So kind of as you can see in the map here, cities grows like the Madras grows according to the people settlements. So kind of like in north side, in Delhi, people grow according to those settlements. So yeah. So characteristics of the British city, that is classical with adjacent black towns for native population, little importance to urban design and architecture except government's mansion, churches, civic buildings, grew from a central nucleus. Little importance to urban design, that is they concentrated most on the government mansions, churches, and civic buildings. Civic buildings is nothing but the public buildings, and grew from a central nucleus. They started grew from exploring the settlements in a central nucleus. No plan or clear architecture idea found in the Renaissance cities of Europe. There is no plan or no clear ideas that is found in the Renaissance period. In Calcutta, vistas terminated in important buildings. In all those major cities, only the civic buildings and important buildings were developed, and others were not developed, since they were separate towns for British and Indians. As we saw in the movie, which is the Madrasapattinam, was acted by Arya and Amy Jackson. You all know that, right? We can see a lot of those period buildings there. As you can see, the British are living in a separate period, and the villages and towns are living in a separate. I told period. They live in separate town, and the villages and towns are living in a separate place. So likewise, the superiors were staying in a separate place and the villagers staying in a separate place. So you can see those that movie after we are finishing this chapter. You can relate with a lot of things with that building, how they had their transportation system, how they had those buildings, and how they had those bungalows and all for the governor, for those rich people. So we will see all these things in this chapter. You can just watch that movie; it will be really helpful. So clearance of buildings around forts were created maidens, S-plans making development along the S-plan view attractive for public buildings, development of cantonments and bungalows. Cantonments is nothing but what we have nowadays. It is a military town. The military people and their families and their thing and their relatives who are they can live in the cantonments, and the bungalows are for the rich people. These cantonments and bungalows are evolved in the British phase. Nowadays still the cantonments and bungalows are not existing, but not compared to that days. Yeah. So yeah, architecture of the British. So basically, British East India Company, which started in 17th century during the height of power of the Mughal Empire, as the English East India Company changed its character from the purely trading concern to political military economic mission. It was the state based in the form of the British settlement. The earlier British forts followed the Portuguese and French variations of the Italian Renaissance conception of an idea to its city and defenses. uh, Forts, there were, as I told, there were four main settlements that was in Madras, Surat, Calcutta, and Delhi. They had all those forts, which is this is St. Fort George, which is in Madras. It is still existing now. So forts at Madras and Calcutta, regular polygonal geometry and salient triangular base bastions with resist flanks at each angle maximized all-round cover and minimized vulnerability by offering overlapping fields of fire. So yeah, the military boats, they are called, contributed the bulk of secular architecture, barracks, forts, houses, housing for soldiers, and other assorted buildings. For the government and the church, something more assertive was needed to proclaim the supremacy of the British. The government houses and the town halls, from where the business of the governor's justice was carried out, following closely changing the trends in Britain to great extent and show the continued influence of the so-called pattern books from which the bulk of the company design was carried out. So basically, military boats are nothing but a cantonment area for people like housing for soldiers. In those times, World War was happening. So while World War One, while World War Two, Indians were gone to the French, and they had the war there. So people came from the war. So they wanted to have a home, right? So they started the cantonment for the only the soldiers, for only the military people. Yeah, so they also started PWD, that is Public Works Department. This was the main 2 mark we had in our exam. So this is the important one. You can they can ask in what is the full form of PWD or which year it started. So like that and all. So we will cover the main thing only in this PDF, and we'll move on to the important questions in the next one. Yeah, I think it's enough. I guess we will move on with the Expedia, the Public Works Department. The PW developed as a standardized form for almost all the military structures and civic buildings of British Indian administration and the infrastructure. So PWD is basically a department which works for the government, and they are in charge of the civic buildings, that is the public buildings, and also the military structures. They are the one who design all those buildings, and they are the one who wanted to change or who wanted to implement a new building. They had those organization in those period for the all these public structures. So no significant reference to regional context, served as law court, school, municipal halls, bungalows, barracks, etc. All those things are public buildings. Utilitarian movement, this is also another important 2 mark or 1 mark they can ask. As the 19th century, progress architects were increasingly hired by the PWD for specific works. Under Curzon, an architect was appointed as an official consultant to the PWD. Cost factor lead to the hiring of local firms for local work. The presence of architect began to be felt in India. So this utilitarian movement, which was happened in 19th century, was hired by the PWD for specific works. for we will be hiring some architects or some people from the outside the country or outside the world. So sorry, outside the country or outside the town, for a specific people to have a certain ideas for the buildings. So by this, India started to be felt presence of architects. They are seeing for the utilitarian movement. This is also another movement which was started by PWD. So yeah, we will move on to the next part of city to city planning. Yeah, we will move on to the another PDF which I had all these important questions. This is enough in this chapter, I guess. Yeah, which is neoclassicism in India. Neoclassical architecture in India was initiated by European colonists who brought with them the vast concept of the worldview and the history of European architecture, include Romanesque, Neoclassical, Gothic, and Renaissance. So basically, all those four styles were incorporated in our country, which is at Chennai, Madras. Large number of security asked for wider growth outside the confines of fortified walls. This resulted in the spread of Madras flat tops garden housing set in large landscaped components. These houses with the deep verandas to offer shade were adapted by Palladian prototypes. Initially in Madras in those period, roof gardens, flat roofs, and also a Madras terrace. You know that, right? Still, it is existing nowadays. And also verandas to offer shade, pediment centerpieces, and curved base to the garden frontage were common themes, imparting a sense of grandeur presence as well as providing a welcome respect for the serve of sun rays. Some of the notable survivals include Adyar Club, Old Madras Club, Brody Castle, and the Government House Kindi. While you guys are in Chennai, just visit all these buildings. There are so many much of buildings which we can learn a lot in our or to a design, or we can just get ideas from all the works. Just to read about Madras terrace, read about buildings which had on those days and how they are maintaining it in nowadays. It will be really helpful. Yeah, in Kolkata became the effective capital of British India, and the East India Company thus get on erecting public buildings. On those days, Kolkata was the capital of the British, and yeah, we will see the buildings right now because it's going on lot of history. So we will go to the buildings. Yeah, which is town halls or ascetic society of Mumbai. So town hall is one of the most majestic structure among the other heritage building in city of Mumbai. One can say that building represents one of the last architectural remnants of Victorian Bombay, Mumbai. Town halls was one of the most important public building which was constructed in the Mumbai, and town halls houses are also called as Tondal during 19th century. Tondal Edo அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல. So that is called Tondal during 19th century. So which is a public state library for the city. For a reason, the structure is considered a storehouse of information. Yeah, town halls are also considered as a library, or also if you want to have a public meetings and all. So it also acts as a multi-purpose building. So town halls was designed by Colonel Thomas Copper, who was one of the best engineers in Mumbai, with a span of 200 feet and height of 100 feet. These can be asked in the 1 mark. How state any example of the town hall, which is of 200 feet height and 200 feet wide, span of 200 and feet height of 100. The structure was inspired by Greek and Roman styles of architecture. The entrance of the building is adorned with a Gaussian portico and 8 impressive Doric style pillars. This is a flight of 30 steps leading to the entrance of the town hall. You can see the picture here. Yeah. This is the town hall which was in Mumbai. Now it is acts as a state central library. It is a very big library. So when you're visiting Mumbai, do visit this library. So this is what they are saying, a flight of 30 stairs, and within the building, floors are covered in ancient wood. The staircase are spiral, and the terraces are adorned with the beautiful rough iron. These are state the Doric orders, which they had those columns in there, which was inspired by Greek and Roman. The hall boasts of a collection remarkable the marble statues of Indian paintings of 19th century. Yeah, Bangalore town hall. These are another town halls which they constructed. You can see the Doric orders are similar there, and they also have flight of stairs here. They also use all those colors there. So you can just refer all these. We are just moving on with the one example. So after neoclassicism, we had a Gothic revival architecture in India. That is during 12th century, France was prevailed till 16th century. 12th to 16th century was prevailed by France. So that nowadays we can see in Pondicherry there are still buildings which were constructed during those French people, and Pondicherry is considered one of the well aesthetic buildings we are having there. You can see in Instagram most of the photo shoots are happening there because of the building. So mainly used buildings, churches, and cathedrals. Classic characteristics of Gothic architecture include ribbon walls, stone structure, and pointed arches. This can also asked as in 1 mark or 2 mark. What are the characteristics of Gothic architecture in India? Like that. So you can say ribbon walls, stone structure, pointed arches, places, town halls, castles, and other type of magnificent structure were also sometimes built in the architectural style. This form of architecture was unique to Europe, reached in India during the rule of British. When Christianity was introduced in India, architects started building churches and cathedrals of India in the same form. So after introducing Gothic revival architecture, people started, when Christianity was introduced in India, people started building according to Gothic and French style of buildings, sorry, Gothic and Greek style of buildings in India. For example, St. Thomas Cathedral Basilica, which is in Chennai, also known as St. Thomas San Tom Basilica. It was built in 16th century by the Portuguese. So it was one of the 3 churches in the world that was built over the tomb, one of the 12 apostolic officers, as you all know. Saint Thomas is the disciple of the Jesus thing. So they wanted to have a church for him, so they constructed according to the Gothic and Greek style, and it was constructed by Portuguese on 1983. Yeah, no, in 16th century, and the church was rebuilt by British in 1893, and that is the version we are seeing today. So the church is a Roman Catholic minor. So no, we don't want these, and we move on to the next one. So as you can see, the Portuguese style of churches in Chennai. After all these churches, nowadays people are building kind of like these churches nowadays, not going with a flat roof, they are going with a pointed arch kind of. Yeah. So this is Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus Fort, Mumbai. This is a huge one. We don't have time. You just read on with all these. This is another one incredible building. You have to read this. You have to know this. So better after the class you have time, right? You can read all these things in your own. So I'll just move on with the next one. We're just only having a 15 minutes, so we have to cover it a lot. So Indo-Saracenic architecture in India, which is also known as Indo-Gothic, Mughal Gothic, and formerly known as Hindu style. So Indo-Saracenic comprises of we Hindus had our own style in our India, so that they were combined with the Gothic, Mughal, and the Gothic style. We all know Mughal period, right? You studied in the previous period, which Mughal style, Mughal architecture, all that. So they combined both Indo-Saracenic and Mughal. So this style drew according to elements native Indo-Islamic architecture, especially Mughal architecture, which British regarded as classic Indian style. Mughal architecture basically comprises of Indo-Islamic style. So they combined both the Indo-Islamic style and the Indo-Gothic style. So yeah. The first Indo-Saracenic build is said to be the Chepak Palace, completed in 1789, which was in Chennai, Madras. So yeah, these are the important characteristics you have to know about that period. Those are onion domes, which we call, yeah. These are called onion domes in the side. We all know that this is in Taj Hotel in Mumbai. This Mysore Palace in Mumbai. These are called onion domes. This is chaja overhanging eaves, often supported by the concentric brackets. These are all Indian terms, chaja and pakka, that and all Indian terms. There's no all these things. Pointed arches, cuspid arches, or scalloped arches. As you can see here, these are pointed arches and sculptured arches and all that. So yeah. Horseshoe arches, in fact, characteristic of Islamic Spain or North Africa, but often used. Contrasting colors of warsia around an arch, especially red and white. Another feature of more of typical North Africa and Spain, curved roof in Bengali style, such as charchala. Know all these terms. This will be really helpful on the next semester also. Domed Chatri Kikos on the roof line, pinnacles, you all know that all the detailing one. Towers, minarets, hemren windows, open pavilions or pavilions with bungalow roofs, jalis or open worksings, Mashrabia style screened windows. Yeah, all these things. Just remember all these examples. Just read out all the characteristics and relate to the buildings. It will be really helpful. Yeah, we are going with the example that is the Gateway of India. Gateway of India, which is the architecture monument that is built in the 20th century, located in Mumbai, and it was erected to be the commemorate of the landing of the first British monarchy in India. King Emperor George V and the Queen Empress we all want that. So built in the Indo-Saxonic style, incorporating elements of 16th century. Yeah, as I told, they followed Indo-Saxonic style in this building. So just know the building when it was constructed. That is December 1911. That is enough, I think. So the final design of the monument by architect George Witte was the sanctioned only in 1914 and construction was completed in 1924. So triumphal arch made of basalt, which is I'm having the picture here. This is the triumphal arch, which was known as basalt, which was made of basalt, which is 26 meter. Know all these measurements. That is 26 meters and 85 feet. I'm not sure they are asking, but it's better to know all these measurements. So after to its construction, the gateway was used as a symbolic ceremonial entrance to the British India for important colonial person. It has been called as a symbol of conquest and colonization. Yeah, it was used as a symbolic entrance for the British people. Yeah, this structure for an entrance they wanted a monument like this. So the gateway arch is height of 26 meter, 85 feet, which is central dome being 15 meters, it is 49 feet. The monument is built on the materials, which is yellow basalt, reinforced concrete, and the monument faces towards the Mumbai harbour. There are 4 turrets on the structure of the gateway, and there are steps constructed behind the arch of the gateway, which lead to the Arabian Sea. The building which is faced into the Mumbai harbour. So that is what they are telling here. The monument features intricate stone lattice work, also known as jali work. Yeah, in those period, jali work became one of the major important element in the building. As we all know, in Indo-Islamic style, jali works are also implemented. If you want to see jolly wall visually in the movies, you can just see Jodha Akbar movie. They used all those jolly walls and created all those patterns. It was happened in what place is that? It was happened in somewhere in Amritsar. I'm not exactly remembering the place. So it was Akbar's fort. That is where the movie was taken. If you can see all those jali works, and if you want to know how the jali works are made in those periods, just watch the movie and watch all those domes, which we say onion domes and all. They were all constructed in those periods. That is the Mughal period, Indo Islamic architecture. So just relate with all those, how they combined all this Indo-Islamic and Indo-Gothic, and they created this uh, what to say, and they created this type of style to in a present day building. So it will be really interesting. Yeah. So and they also have this another National Art Gallery and all Chepak Palace in Chennai. This was the Chepak Palace in Chennai. No, not this one. This was the Chepak Palace in Chennai. So just see all these things. Yeah, next going to the cantonment. Cantonment is according to the traveler who visited in Copper 19. So cantonment is a military or police quarters. As I said before, the origin of the cantonment comes from the French word canton, meaning corner or district. This terms can also be asked as in 1 mark or 2 mark. Just note it down. So from all these cities, that is Ahmedabad, Ambala, Belgaum, Bangalore, Danapur, Jabalpur, Kanpur, Delhi, Meerut, Pune, Peshawar, all these cities were Indian in the Indian subcontinent. They started all these cantonment for the British Indian Army, with the Meerut and Ramat being the most important cantonments in North India after headquarters at the Rawalpindi. The headquarters was in the Rawalpindi, and all these excuse me, and all these things were in the other states. So Meerut was established in 1803, was for 150 years the biggest cantonment in the region. Nowadays we are also having cantonment in Chennai, which is in the Tambaram. They also have those military cantonment parks there. So still it exists, still is existing. So while in 18th and 19th century, cantonments in India were viewed as a semi-permanent by the tune of the 20th century as they became permanent garrisons. So spread of the disease such as diarrhea, malaria, and viral disease among the troops necessity the containing of these military camps from the local populations. If, since it was a war period, there were a lot of people affecting with the disease, so they started cantonment along with the war period. That is what they are trying to tell here. So yeah, these are the features cantonment town, which is also out of state town. They basically had a church there inside a public building there, transformed into a military campus into town under the Raj. Consists of public offices, churches, parks, shops, school. Since we know in Madurai there was a cantonment park which I visited, there were literally a mini township there within the cantonment park, within the cantonment. Yeah, so kind of it was derived from the from the later, sorry, from the before period, and it still exists in these days. So it was a European town and made which possibly by the dominant society a few large number of lowly paid servants, and there will be like a low paid servants and also high paid servants will be settling there. They have the settlements there. The predominant house form was the bungalow. Bungalow, we will see bungalow on the later one. Yeah, yeah. Bungalow is the main structure which was accommodated by the rich people. Rich people, that is the rich British people. So they started bungalow with the in a very huge land. There will be a single one bungalow that represents their richness, that represents their what to say, that represents their richness, that represents their social value in the society. There some kind of people will be there, right, to they want to be the first person in the thing in the society. So bungalows help them a lot in by influencing people there. So it started in 18th century, that is which started in the 18th century and is affected Indian social and institutional structure. Like if there is, why it is affected, since it is a large space and a single bungalow will be there and all other space are taken it as a garden. You can see this bungalow in the Madhyasapatina movie also. There will be single bungalow and all the outer spaces will be of garden. So bungalows were one of the major things of the British people in those periods. So which has an consistence of low one-story spacious building having a symmetrical interior layout with a veranda all around, situated in a large landscape compound, as I said. So the bungalow thus reflected very different ways of life, gender roles, and have the hierarchy of family members, visitors, and servants. If we want to know a building, we should know also its history. That is why I'm explaining all those bungalows, why they, bungalows became famous, and why there was an important role within the bungalow. Yeah. So going to the characteristics, the amount of land enclosed is the symbol of status, the garden built from the ratio, which vary from 15:1 to 1:1. That is 15:1 is 15 part of the land to 1 part of the site. That is they are telling in the ratio. So one part of the site in the sense it is a small bungalow which is in the huge site. That is what they are trying to say. So early bungalow has long, low classical lines and detailing along with the Gothic revival changes like pitched roof and richly carpentered details. Evolution of colonnaded verandas initially as climate responsive feature, open colonnade in warmer areas and covered with glass and architects in cold zones. Veranda acted also as a buffer. As protection against the hot Indian climate, the English built their bungalows within the comfort of shady tree, and the rooms had very thick walls and high ceilings surrounded by covered verandas. Since in British they're having a very cold climate, and then they're coming and staying in India. India is kind of like a hot and humid climate we are having. Since comparing to them, India is a hot and humid, so they used verandas as a buffer to have shady trees there and to cover their living rooms and main halls. So they used all these verandas in our grandparents' houses. We all see those verandas and all. No, for nowadays they are not using verandas in front of the house. Still, it came as balconies, but they will have a huge veranda space within the entrance of the house. It acts as a barrier, or it acts as a what is it? It acts as a sun filtering, filtering of the sun, kind of like that. So yeah. So some wealthy, high-ranking suburbs in Calcutta even maintain garden houses on the banks of the river. Some British officials like Metcalfe and William Fraser in Delhi follow the Mughal practices and build teknas. Teknas literally mean basement in residence where they haven't done their guesses. So in those period, while constructing the bungalows, they also have a basement in which the basement they will have all the entertainment purposes there, like for the snookers, for all their indoor games that will be and all those bars that will be all be present in the basement of the floor. Yeah. So for a long time, bungalow meant an isolated house in a large compound having two or more stories. There will be totally of two stories, or most of them having two stories or more than three. That is G+1 or G+2. So yeah, then came the evolutions within the building. Changes like a bedroom having an common bathroom, attached bathroom, a single. If, nowadays we are having an attached bathroom, but on those days people will be having a single bathroom for a family kind of, and the bathroom will be on the outside of the house. As you see, if you watch the movies in Pavakadegal, you can see in the Vignesh Shivan movie. Yeah, the bathroom will be on the outside of the building, outside of the house. So that is a typical Indian house on those days. After the British influence, they changed that into an attached bathroom in which they attached bathroom, and also the kitchen acts was moved to a separate room. On those days we will be having a single room, and people will use that single room as for sleeping, and also for there will be a small unit for kitchen purposes. But after the British, they move all those spaces into a single room, and also they have separate and defined spaces for different activities like dining, living, sleeping got involved. So as I said, Madras terrace roof was able to become a pitched roof or even attic spaces. Attic spaces are nothing or storage spaces. Madras roof evolved to become a pitched roof, and they used those spaces as an attic spaces. Platform for kitchen, unlike the earlier concept of sitting down for cooking. Yeah, there are basically how much is left? Yeah, we are almost gonna finish with the bungalow. Yeah. There were two type of bungalows, the urban and the rural. The urban bungalow, rurals one, were inhabited by the British residents of India, such as managers of various plantation or factory in 18th century. They also include the duck bungalow, large pieces of land adjacent to the inner circle were British for the cantonment and civil line. So basically, there were two types of bungalows. One bungalows were for the urban people, and one bungalows for the rural people. Rural people in the sense the people which they are working only for the British, not for our Indians, which is they use those rural people for the rural people bungalows are used for the workers of the in the factory or in the plantation, and all those civic building workers, British workers, will be using the rural bungalows, and all the rich people and all the governors and all the people who use which are in the higher category, they use the urban bungalow. So, Norm as a residential house type for British military officers associated with the Indian Army. Early bungalow was typically built in form of brick or stone with simple volumes. It was symmetrical in form and largely in space and organization. Hall in the center, rooms on the each side, and veranda in front facing the garden, and sometimes are also on the both sides, as we all discussed all these things. Kitchen and the service quarters were detached and located behind the main house in most instances. The bungalow was thus a reunion of Indian servants. The entire setup reflected the sheer contrast of lifestyles of natives and the rulers. So, most of the kitchen and servant residence became on a separate house on behind the bungalow. Since there were a lot of British influence in India, people started having Indian people as servants, and they wanted to locate them on behind the bungalow, just that they can have them as they can have them whenever they want, kind of a thing. Yeah. So this basic development into a Europe classical form in the outward appearance in 19th century, which indicate the superior social position of the British owners. So the bungalow at times resemble a villa when it's Doric. First, the bungalows were termed of the Doric, and later it became Tuscan columns, as we said. Doric columns has more of detailing, since and Tuscan columns has less of detailing than comparing to the Doric columns. So it became a symbol of Britain's commercial and military might. Yeah. So as you can see, these are the bungalows. As I said, they're having only 2 stories, and these are the veranda they're having on those days. It filters the sun and it doesn't enter the old building. So yeah, these were the terraces they used, and they have all those arches, pointed arches, and all those have onion domes and all. Yeah. So we are finishing the unit now, and almost I have covered all the important topics. Like you just have to read through all the things. So those on we have like what to say. Yeah. Oh, I have left the city planning. Yeah, I'll just finish with this thing. Yeah, New Delhi. This they will be asking any 1 mark or 2 mark. I'll just go on with this in a quick. This is the last topic, I guess. Yeah, New Delhi. New Delhi is the extended is most capital power to all of the settlements. And so I told first 4 settlements. New Delhi became one of the most important settlements, and they spread out through the New Delhi. And the capital, it became one of the capital. And the governor or of the British stays in the New Delhi, and they started. And they started Rashtrapati Bhavan as their important building there, and they also designed a Parliament House, which are designed by Baker, and located on the sands and running parallel with the Rashtrapati. So they also designed India Gate, which was an important monument for them. So I'll just rush on with this topic. You just read all once because we don't have time. It's already 4:55. So I'll just tell you the main things. So from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, from the Secretariat, they will building which houses the various ministers of the government India. The in Rashtrapati Bhavan, there will be the chief of the country, and the Secretariat there will be all the ministers and all. They will be using those. And yeah, this is the India Gate, which is located in New Delhi, and this is the Parliament House. It still exists nowadays, and they used Indo-Saracenic style in this building. So you can see all those onion domes and all those facades, windows there, and all those pointed arches and all. So you can see all these nowadays. It still exists, and this is the India Gate, which we will talk. We will just talk this with now details. So, Monumental Roman Arch, which completed on 1921 by Edwin Lutyens, adaptation of the art was immortified in Paris, and this art was constructed due to as a war memorial arch, which commemorates Indian soldiers. As I told, Indian soldiers which was killed in World War I. So they kept this arch as a memorial for them. So it is 138 feet height, but this height increased optically by system of steps on the roof and utter flatness of the surrounding plain, which is 138 feet high, and this arch is consist of 75 feet high. So the cornice is thin and prominently unused for a monument of this kind. The mass takes of this form of three irregular shapes, the topmost and the deepest of which, as now narrates, interprets by the cornice recently. On the top of the rest is a small dome. This is the dome which finished with the convex eye, slightly molded. This is a miniature adaptation of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Yeah. So basically, then goes the Art Deco in India. This is the last topic. Yeah, this is the last topic. So there is the Art Deco in the India, which they yeah. So Art Deco was influenced in the one of the Paris exposition, which was held in the Paris. So they also wanted to combine Art Deco. They wanted to combine Art Deco movement in India. So they wanted which came to India in 1930s and continued to the work which is in 1940s. So basically, RCC is one of the main element that were one of the main material that were used in the Art Deco movement. Art Deco buildings were in 1990s with curvilinear structure, pastel color walls, marble corridors inlaid with teak and sweeping balconies with stained brows. So originated characteristics were streamlining and rounded corners and streamlined design influenced by the design of airplanes, ships, trains, and automobiles in early 20th century. So we can see this the New India Assurance building is an Art Deco office building made with reinforced concrete designed by masters and these and all reinforced exposed concrete. This is where brutalism also came in India. We will be studying on the next semester what is brutalism. Brutalism is nothing but an exposed work, exposed exposition of the material and exposition of the work. So it will be really interesting. You will be studying all those. So modern Art Deco features with a modern classicism evident in the strong vertical vibes of the facade that give the building a monumental appearance, making it seem larger than its reality. included design with a modern forced air cooling system with centralized ductwork. Ductworks and all the centralized systems started evolving in Art Deco period. We all know what is a duct, right? So all those lift and the staircase and all, there will be a hole which goes to the ground floor, that is called a duct, you all know. So the eastern and western side protects windows from the sun. To deal with the potential power failures, the windows were constructed to open and close, and they also limited the number of details in the facade. They also limited number of ornamentation in the facade. They used windows for the natural lighting, and they all used all the sculpturals and bases in a minimum amount of work. Yeah, that's it. We are finishing the fifth unit. All in all, there are another examples. So you just read out all these things. I just explained any one example. So we will winding off the session. So you can ask any doubts if you want. Any doubts? Anything you can just ask in the unmute yourselves. You can ask. Yes, sure. We will be having. PDF. Yeah, I can send you all the PDFs. Tyagambika. I will send you all the PDFs. I will just talk with the admin and let you know soon. Yeah. So winding off the session. Is there any doubts? Any things you can ask? We'll just you can just unmute yourselves. I can ask any doubts. I've just rushed a 50 unit last part because we didn't have time. It's almost 5 a.m. So I tried to cover all it up. So yeah. Any doubt, guys? Thank you so much, BK. Thank you, Ajmal. You can just unmute yourselves and you can talk. So since last session was there are less number of people, so you can talk. Yeah, almost people are leaving now. So okay, guys.